Hey guys, this is your first video lesson from Miss Bays. Hope you enjoy it while I'm gone. Please go ahead and get your math journals out because you're going to need to take notes in there. You're going to start where we ended yesterday with our place value and just keep going from there. Make sure you take notes today so that you can use them during your lesson work. Today we're still going to be comparing numbers that are greater than 10,000. Actually, they're going to be into the 100,000s. So make sure that you use your place value chart today to help you answer the questions that you need help with. And let's go ahead and move forward with the lesson. As always, we want to start out with our learning objective. So today you will be applying your knowledge of place value to compare whole numbers through 100,000s using the place value chart. Now remember, it's very important that you take notes and pause the video so that you can kind of work out some of the problems on your own just to see if you can do it. So we're going to start out with some guided instruction. I'm going to actually work through the problems with you. We're going to start out with the problems that I have on the screen, and I'll do those on individual pages so you can see them. So let's move forward. And we're going to start out with these two numbers, and we're going to use comparison signs. Remember, we have the greater than, less than, or equal to. So if we're looking at these two numbers, and I've gone ahead and made a place value chart, and you can see that here, thousands, hundreds, tens, ones. If I'm looking at the thousands place value, can I compare them? Here. And I hope that you said no, because both of those numbers are the same. They have the same value, the same digit, so that means they're both 2,000. So we really can't compare those two numbers in this place value. We're going to move on to the hundreds. When we look at the hundreds place value, we see a 6 and an 8. So at this point, we can actually start doing our comparison here. If I'm looking at the 8, I know that 8 is greater than 6, so I'm ready to decide which comparison sign I'm going to need to use. So in this case, when I look at this number, I know that 2,643 is actually less than 2,801. So I'm going to go ahead and put the less than sign there. Oops, in the wrong spot. So I know that that 2,643 is less than 2,801. Okay, our next problem, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to look at our place value chart, use all the information that we have there. If we're looking at the thousands place value, you need to think in your mind, they're both the same digit, they're both in the same place value, so they're equal. We can't compare them there. So we're going to move on over to the hundreds. And as you can see, the hundreds are both the same as well, so we cannot compare them there. So we're going to move on over to the tens. In the tens place value in the first one, we have a 1. In the second one, we have an 8. So we can see that 6,519 is actually less than 6,582. So you're going to put the less than sign there. Let's move on to the next problem. We've got much bigger numbers. We're going into the 10,000s value now. And if we look at this number and we place it in the place value chart, we line those up by place value. We see that the place value in the 10,000s are both 8, so we can't compare them there. In the thousands, they're both 5. In the hundreds, they're both 7. So the only place value that we come to, the first place value we come to where the values are different or the digits are different is in the tens place value. And we know that 8 tens is greater than 3 tens. So we're going to use the comparison sign of greater than for this particular problem. Now we're getting into those big numbers like I told you that we would be doing in the 100,000s. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to use our hundreds, our place value chart. We're going to start out with 100,000s, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So we're going to go and place those in the values that they belong in, the digits and the values they belong in. So the ones belong in the 100,000s, and they are the same, so we can't compare them there. We're going to move on over to the 10,000s. Both of those are 8s, so again, we can't compare them there. If we go to the thousands place value, we see that they're both 6s, so they're equal there. We're going to move on over to the hundreds. When we look at the hundreds place value, we see some different digits there. And we know that 700s is greater than 600s, so our comparison sign is going to be greater than. The next thing that we're going to look at is just a couple of questions about some problems for us to think about. Number 5 says, why would you look at the hundreds place to order these numbers? So if we're looking at the place value and we see that there is a 3 in the 10,000s place value, every one of those numbers have a 3 in the 10,000s place value. If we move on over to the thousands, we see that there is a 2 in each place value. If we move to the hundreds, we see that there's a 4 in this one and a 4 in this one, but when we move over here, we can see that there is a 9. So obviously 9 is greater than these two 4s, so we know that if we're going to order them from greatest to least, this number is going to go first. And then we're going to have to move to the tens place value in these two numbers to compare, and we know that 8 is greater than 6. So greatest to least, we would put this number next, second in line, and then this one third. I want you to pause the video and I want you to try number 6 on your own using a place value chart and determining which sign you should use. So if you've paused your video, you can see that if you're going to compare those by place value, we're going to look at the 4s and the 100,000s place value. They're the same, so we can't compare them there. You're going to look at the 3s and the 10,000. They're both equal. 5 in the thousands. We move over to the hundreds and we have 700 and 600. We know that 700 is greater than 600, so I would use the greater than sign, and I would say that 435,789 is greater than 435,699. Again, you're going to use the place value chart here to help you, and you can see that we're asked to order these from least to greatest. So we're looking for the least number that we're going to put first in our order, and then we're looking for the number that would go second, and then the final number. So again, we're going to look at place value. So if we look at the 7, the 6, and the 6 that are in the thousands place value, we see that 6 is the least, which is going to be one of these numbers that's going to go first, but we really can't compare in the thousands because they're equal. So we're going to have to move over to the hundreds, and in this one we have a 7 and a 7. So we know that we can't compare there, so we're going to have to move to the tens place value. So we have a 9 and a 2, and we know that 2 is less than 9. So the first digit that we should have in this particular problem is going to be, or the first answer that we're going to have in this problem is going to be 6,723. The next one's going to be 6,793. And then our greatest number is going to be 7,502. So when you're asked to order them from least to greatest, you're always going to put the smallest number first and then the largest number last. I want you to pause the video and try this one on your own. Be very careful as you look at the way that the order is asking you to put it in. So I'm going to pause the video. And I want you to try it on your own. So you're going to need to pause your video as well. As you can see, this one's asking us to go from greatest to least. So we're going to look at the values in the 100,000s place value. The digits are 8, 8, and 8. So we can't compare those numbers there. We're going to look at the 10,000s place value. We have a 5, a 5, and a 9. So if we're going to place the greatest number first, we know that 9 is greater than 5 in both of those place values. So we have 90,000 compared to 50,000. So the first number that's going to be in our order would be 893,429. Now we've got to decide between these two numbers which is the greatest. So we're looking at the 5, so we couldn't compare them there, but when we come over to the thousands place value, we have a 9 in this one and an 8 in this one, so we know that 9,000 is greater than 8,000. So our next number would be 859,965, and then our least is going to be 858,962, and those are in order from least to greatest. So let's take another look at our learning objective to make sure that we understand what we were supposed to learn today. I want you to rewatch this video if you need to. Use it during your lesson practice. Use your notes during your lesson practice. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you on Friday.